You're listening to the Thriving Mindfully podcast. I'm Ananda Leeke, your Thriving Mindfully coach and podcast host. I'm also an artist, an author, a human design doula, and an interfaith reverend. The Thriving Mindfully podcast is a heart-centered, digital sacred space that I created to inspire and empower you to be present, well, and the real you. Tune into the latest conversation I've been having with myself and others about nurturing, transforming, and celebrating our lives, relationships, and career. Today's podcast explores how you can shine your light on yourself when you sustain your living. Sustain your living is the second core commitment of the Thriving Mindfully heart-centered approach to being present, well, and the real you. Sustain your living is all about mindful self-care. So tune in to what I had to say. Hey, it's really early on a Saturday morning, and it's been really interesting to just be a vessel and to stay open to what the Creator and the ancestors are calling me to share about softness. And this morning, the divine download that I received was incredible. It was incredible, and I said, "Let me press record." And I'm laying here in my pajamas, and I am following Creator and the ancestors. So here's what they had to say. Softness is letting your guard down. It's letting your guard down with yourself so that you give yourself a moment. It could be a morning, an afternoon, an evening, a minute of the 1,440 minutes that you get every day to tap into what's really happening inside of your heart. It's being vulnerable with yourself, to really do what I like to call a check-in with yourself about how you are in that moment and what your heart needs from you. How are you? Do you give yourself a moment just to check in, to take your emotional, your physical, your spiritual, your mental temperature? How is your emotional health? How's your physical health? How's your spiritual health? How's your mental health? Checking in with yourself and telling yourself the truth. Not sugarcoating it, because it's just you and you and you. That's it. It's just you, you, and you. Not that you have to have that many yous. You get what I'm saying. Softness is the door that you open when you let yourself be vulnerable with yourself. When you let your guard down, whatever armor that you wear, however you show up in the world, you interact with people. You may put on masks. You may need to suit up, as I like to say sometimes, to protect yourself. But with yourself, you're seeing yourself. You're listening to yourself as you are in the present moment. And softness opens the door for you to claim your birthrights. Softness is a birthright. We all are born with this birthright of softness, to have the right to slow down and offer ourselves freedom today, to be soft with ourselves. And that freedom comes when we let our guard down and we're vulnerable with ourselves and we tell ourselves the truth. We tap into our heart and we listen when we ask the question, how are you? What do you need? And the answers may not come immediately. So it's giving yourself the space and the grace to be able to receive what your heart really needs to tell you. And it may come later in the day. It may come later in the week. It may be something that you hear or read. But staying open, giving yourself that space and the grace and the patience to wait, to trust that your heart has things that it needs to reveal to you. And only when you access that birthright of softness can you open the door to being vulnerable, letting your guard down, listening to yourself as you speak to your heart, and allowing your heart to reveal how it is, what it needs in terms of your emotional, your physical, your spiritual, and your mental health needs. And then with softness, when you open that door, when you claim that birthright of softness, you're able to open the door to other birthrights, that birthright of mindfulness, to be aware of what's happening in your heart in the present moment. That birthright of self-love, to make yourself a priority so that you can take action to nurture yourself. That birthright of self-care, which is that action, that self-love action of nurturing yourself in uplifting ways. Y'all hear my neighbors, the police station. You know, I told y'all in some of my other episodes, I'm just a sister with her smartphone recording her podcast, even though I got some equipment that I gotta use and I've been trained to use to make it a little bit more prettier, more easier, more podcasty in the podcasting world. But for right now, we're just going to go with what we got. Me and my PJs and my phone, bundled up in my bed, recording what I received in my divine downloads. So before I took a turn into that little statement, I was talking about how softness opens the door to you being able to claim and practice your other birthrights, that birthright of mindfulness, the birthright of self-love, the birthright of self-care, the birthright of self-worth. When you slow down and offer yourself freedom today by giving yourself the space and the grace to listen to what your heart needs and wants and how it's doing. When you do that temperature check on your emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual health, you get to tap into self-love and self-care, which are all examples and the byproduct of what happens when you value yourself. Self-worth is valuing yourself. So when you love yourself and you care for yourself, you exercise this muscle of self-worth. All of your birthrights are muscles. They gotta be exercised in order for you to practice them and make them a part of your life. So softness is a muscle. Self-love is a muscle. Self-care is a muscle. And self-worth is a muscle. All of it is your birthright. So take the time to slow down and offer yourself freedom today and every day. Don't try to rush this process. Take what is coming to you. Maybe it's just a small dose of what you heard today from me. Take one step at a time, one moment at a time, and celebrate that one step that you take. One moment, 1 minute at a time, one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, 1 year at a time. Slow it down. Slow it down. I know for myself, at the beginning of the summer season, I started writing myself love letters in my journal. And it's a practice that I use sometimes daily, sometimes every couple of days. But definitely during the week, I write a couple of love letters to myself. And they could be very short, you know. I start with, hey, love, and I let whatever needs to come out, come out. Sometimes it's just, hey, love, I love you. Love me. Sometimes it's longer, like the last couple of days it's been longer. A couple of pages have come out. And I don't judge the length of it. I just allow myself to have a soft moment in my journal. You get what I'm saying? I just allow myself to do that. And so it's October. It's not October yet, but it's September the 24th, 2022 when I'm recording this. And so I continue this process even into the autumn season. And I got to tell you that being able to write out what my heart is experiencing and needs, taking my emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental health temperature by writing what my heart needs to say to me has been incredible. It's been incredible, especially when I go back and I look at what I've written. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I just say, oh, I just put it down. And it felt, that was what I needed to do. But lately I've been going back and looking at what I've written. And what I see and what I feel, and what I know in all parts of me is that this muscle of softness is being exercised. This muscle of self-love is being exercised. This muscle of self-care is being exercised. This muscle of self-worth is being exercised. All because I'm taking time. And sometimes it is just a minute. Sometimes it's longer. So I want to invite you to slow down and offer yourself freedom today and every day. You can start with your breath. Just a simple inhale and an exhale through the mouth. Inhaling again through the nose, holding that breath. And then as you exhale, noticing the sound of your breath. And doing that a couple of times and then noticing as you exhale how the body feels. Allowing yourself to experience some softness in your body. Maybe even bringing one hand or both hands to your heart to connect with the heartbeat as you breathe in and out. Noticing how the breath moves in and out of your body, starting with your belly. And then noticing how the breath moves through the chest. And then how the breath moves through the mouth as you exhale. And then tuning into the sound of the breath as you inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And then remembering that you are in the present moment when you are aware of what's happening in your body. The body is always in the present moment. So when you can connect with the body, the breath, and the heart, you are in the present moment. And the present moment is where you can be vulnerable with yourself in your heart. Real time, right as it's happening. And you can ask yourself, what is going on? And what do you need? And then allowing yourself the space and the grace with patience to hear a response from your heart. Allowing yourself that opportunity, that freedom to choose to claim and practice your birthright of softness that opens the door to your birthright of self-love, making yourself a priority and taking action to nurture yourself in uplifting ways. That self-love is getting expressed as self-care, which is nurturing yourself in uplifting ways. And then it is exercising that muscle and that birthright of self-worth, which is all about valuing yourself. That's what happens when you make yourself a priority, when you love yourself, when you nurture yourself in uplifting ways, when you practice self-care. You're saying I'm a priority. You're valuing yourself. That's your self-worth. So that's what I had to say today. I am going to get up and drink some water because I have not been drinking the normal amount of water that I need. There's my alarm. Time to get up, to get ready to go to my tennis lesson. Y'all know, if you've been following me on social media, I signed up for beginner tennis lessons with the DC Department of Parks. Is it Recreation and Parks? Yeah, DPR. Parks and Recreation. Okay. And it's an 8-week class, and I decided to do 2 classes because the price was right for me. And I know I need extra attention when I'm learning something new, especially with coordinating. And yeah, so I take a class on Tuesdays and I take a class on Saturdays. And then I decided to get a little bit of extra help with my different forehands, my backhand, and my serve. So I decided to work one-on-one with a coach that's really great, a couple of weeks. And then I have a practice partner from my class that we meet up, one of my tennis classmates. We meet up and practice with each other. So that's helping me. part of me being able to do that is I have allowed myself to slow down and offer myself freedom today and every day. I've allowed myself to experience the birthright of softness by telling myself the truth that I really needed extra help, extra help. And I know sometimes asking for help is not easy for myself. You may be somebody that may sometimes have challenges asking people for help, especially when you're learning something new and you're already in the new stage and you got one level of help, and then to discover that you need even more help, and then to discover you need more help than what you thought you needed. That can really be challenging and block you from really hearing what your heart has to say and getting what it is that you need. And so I needed teachers, coaches, and I was able to hear myself, hear my heart say that, because I slowed down and offered myself freedom a couple of days. And I was able to let my guard down and be vulnerable and acknowledge that I needed help, and then to be able to take action to get the help. And it wasn't all at once. It was a couple of, it took a couple of weeks to get this. It took a couple of months to find the right fit in terms of getting a class, after I had a wonderful coaching experience this summer with my tennis teacher. So it's a process and it requires patience. Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And that leads me to letting you know that there are a couple of messages that you will have a chance to listen to after this segment. And stay open. Take what you need when you need it. As always, I want to thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Are you ready to be soft with yourself? Soft meaning slowing yourself down to offer yourself freedom today and every day. Are you ready to be soft? If that's resonating with you, I want to invite you to the Soft as Fuck Fall Circle that I'm leading in September. The dates are September 22nd from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, September 28th at 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the third date, just in case you can't make those, is October the 1st at 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are 3 dates that the Soft as Fuck Fall Circle will be offered. And here's what I want you to know. This circle is your safe space to explore what's been happening in the garden of your life since January of 2022. During the circle, you're going to have a chance to identify and celebrate the harvest of your life since January. The harvest is your small, medium, and big wins. You're also going to have a chance to take a deep dive into the struggles of your spirit, heart, mind, and body. Not by yourself, but with my support and the community that joins you during the circle. You're going to learn how to befriend your struggles and nurture yourself with the Thriving Mindfully Academy's soft mindfulness tools and the self-care practices that we've been using all year. And then finally, you're going to be able to prepare for your fall and winter seasons by planting seeds of intention, affirmation, action, accountability, and appreciation in the garden of your life. We're going to do all of that on Zoom together. That's right. So I want to invite you to join me. Go ahead and visit anandaleeke.com/Soft soft. AnandaLeeke.com/soft, or wherever you find this podcast. If you're looking in the description section, the link will be there. If you're listening from social media, the link is in the description. If you're finding it someplace else, check the description. AnandaLeeke.com/soft. I will see you in the circle. Thanks for tuning in to the Thriving Mindfully podcast. If you're ready to be inspired and empowered with my coaching support, join me in the Thriving Mindfully Academy. Visit AnandaLeeke.com/academy. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper and move past your comfort zone with my one-on-one coaching program, book a discovery call with me today. Visit AnandaLeeke.com. If you need something juicy to read, check out my 3 mindfulness books: Love's Troubadours, a self-love and yoga-inspired novel; That Which Awakens Me, a mindful creativity memoir; and Digital Sisterhood, a mindful technology memoir. Go to AnandaLeeke.com/books. All of my books are available on Amazon.com. Well, that about wraps us up. And as I always like to say, may we all continue to embrace thriving mindfully in everything that we think, feel, say, and do. See you next time.